Welcome back, everyone, to the After the Scales podcast, presented by DJD Graphics, episode 97. I'm Jacob Dove, along with Shaun Blight, and joining us is our good friend Hunter Hensel from Hensel Media. Thanks, Hunter, for joining us for today's episode.
Yeah, no problem. Always a pleasure to join you guys. And we've got a special guest for me coming from Western Pennsylvania today. So, yeah, always excited to be on, and thank you guys.
Yes, we got CODY BOVA out of Ohio, who runs the wing sprint cars with the All-Star Circuit of Champions this year. Looking forward to Cody and talking some sprint car racing with him. But before we do that, we're going to catch up on the racing that me and Shaun got to watch in person this past weekend. So, Shaun, take it away.
Yeah, so I know this is a sprint car episode, so we won't go into it too long. But got to check a couple of new tracks off my list this past weekend at Brownstown and Atomic for the Lucas Oil Late Model Dirt Series. Some great racing. I finally got to see the late models on a bull ring, which was really cool. And Devin Moran got the win at the quarter mile at Brownstown, and then Sunday was RTJ returning to victory lane, which we all knew it was going to happen eventually. And just a great battle with Brandon Shepherd. And I've got to tip my hat again. I know I always do this, but I got to credit the Lucas Oil Late Model Dirt Series because I do believe they are the best run series when it comes to banging out an efficient show. The weather's cold. Saturday at Brownstown, the 8:30 was the checkered flag for racing is done. Sunday, they ran at Atomic because it was supposed to be a Friday show. The weather didn't look good, so they moved it to Sunday. 7:50 p.m. checkered flag for the 50 lap late model Lucas Oil Late Model Dirt Series. So hats off to those guys. I bang the drum, probably one of the loudest here locally about having an efficient show. I don't necessarily need to be done by 8 o'clock or 8:30, but on a weeknight, man, it's hats off to those guys for pushing through. And Jacob, you did not have an early night. You got to you got to see the lights go out in Georgia at Sonoya. So talk about that experience.
Hey, Alexa, play the night the lights went out in Georgia by Reba McEntire. Yeah, that was the story of my night on Saturday. Drove over 5.5 hours to Sonoya Raceway. Great facility. Bubba Pollard does a great job with it. Had a good time last year there. Returned there for the World of Outlaws late models. Over 41 cars showed up along with some support classes, but still a great turnout. The fans turned out really well. Packed early on throughout the night, and right before the heat races started, they were actually out there on the track, and then a couple laps in, the lights just went out in the whole facility, and they had to bring the cars down on pit road in the middle there. And I don't know how long the delay was, but it was a long time. I was really glad to see a lot of the fans stick around for it and didn't leave. Great job by the officials and everybody who tried their best to get the lights back on. And a couple times it came back on, and then we thought we were going back and racing, and then they went out again, and you could just hear the crowd go, "Yay!" Oh, So it was my first time that's ever happened at a racetrack, at a race event in general. Definitely a weird experience, but it happens. Sonoya Raceway didn't ask for that, so still a good show. Track took a lot of rubber early on throughout the night, but I don't really want to talk about who won the race, but it was an interesting battle between Ashton Winger and Nick Hoffman until a certain 32 car came and won. So still overall a great time. Can't complain going to a racetrack. And I know this is a sprint car episode, but just overall great weekend for late models, especially with races with Lucas and the World of Outlaws. So looking forward, hopefully getting some more races and soon.
Yeah, so let's shift gears a little bit since I was at Atomic, but we do have some sprint cars coming to Ohio. The All-Star Circuit of Champions 2026 season kicks off April 10th and 11th at Attica Raceway Park. We're hoping that the weather cooperates because Attica has not had a lot of luck so far getting any races in. And there are some interesting notes going into 2026 with the All-Stars. Zach Hampton is joining the series in the Ceiling 97, which will be pretty exciting. And Zane DeVault switches to Randerson Racing in the 14. So he will be a teammate of Danny Sams on the High Limit Tour in that they're driving for the same owner. Obviously, they won't be both running national tours, but you will see those two cars parked next to each other in the pits when the All Stars and the High Limit series are both at the same event. So those were a couple of little notes that I wanted to let people know about in case they haven't seen it. And Cap Henry, Caleb Henry, Cale Thomas. It's going to be a good battle at the top.
Yeah, and I mean, so I've got a question for you, Shaun, about your late model experience throughout the weekend.
Sure.
There was no support in these quick run shows. Was it just Lucas all the way through?
They've each had one support class each night. Yeah,
And it wasn't sprint cars.
it was not sprint cars. No, no. They
See, I went to an extreme midget race at Atomic that I think Jade Evidician won on a last corner pass, but the 410s were support. So I'm sad that you didn't get to see the Cole Duncan show at Atomic
no.
because watching that man wheel there is he's the definition of a local ringer. He's so cool to watch at Atomic. And Jacob, did they give you a reason why the lights went out?
They just blew a transformer.
Okay, that was the official reason because that happened to me at Williams Grove during Speed Week. I think that was just last year, and the reason was somebody wrecked outside the speedway into some power lines. So at least it wasn't as bad as that.
Okay.
You mentioned the three names, or the two at the top really, Caleb Henry and Kel Thomas. Their battle last year for the championship was really really close, and I mean the fact that they're both back for another year with the All Stars shows that there's unfinished business. So those guys are entertaining racers. They're not afraid to put it on the line, and should be cool to watch. It's nice to have a regional series, and maybe we should have asked. Oh my gosh, can't remember anything today. We should ask Cody his thoughts on fast versus all stars. I don't know if that would have been taboo, but the fact that there's multiple regional series for sprint cars in kind of the same area is really interesting. Obviously, there's a place for both of them, but it would be pretty cool for them to join forces. I don't know if the people behind that would be interested though.
Yeah, I think I'm just happy that the All Stars came back. I know a lot of us race fans and racing in the racing community were sad to see them go and get bought out. And yeah, I say more regional series the better, right? Not every driver can afford to go run the Outlaws and High Limit, and everybody needs a stepping stone too. I mean, we've seen guys like Bryce Lucius this year, who's another Ohio driver who's only like 16 years old, and he's ran almost every World of Outlaws race. And I would like to see a guy like him who's just coming up and he can run the All Stars. And I grew up watching a lot of the All Star races and. Had a lot of great talent. I mean, it seemed like a couple of years ago we saw Tyler Courtney, Zeb Wise, Justin Peck, all those guys, battling out with Blake Anderson on the mic. I mean, me and Shaun were talking about it the other night when Blake Anderson was on FS1. It was really cool to hear his voice again. And some of the most talented commentators and staff have come from these regional series and worked their way up.
Yeah, it's interesting to see how this series is going to grow over the next few years. Also, I should have mentioned our buddy Darren Nida, who we've had on before, kind of parlayed his uh, successful run in the Chili Bowl into a full-time All-Stars ride with the 11N that was vacated by Casey Jedrzak. So that was cool news for him. So yeah, if you're going to be if you're looking for some sprint car racing and hopefully, we're finally starting to get some warmer weather up here. Hopefully the weather cooperates and we can get that 2 day show in because it's going to be a good show.
And before we have Cody on, we'll talk about where we're going to be next. I'm going to be going to some asphalt racing, as Shaun would say. Super late model action here at my local track coming up in 2 weeks. But I do get to see some more dirt racing this weekend with the Top Gun 360 sprint cars before then. So looking forward to that. A lot of good local Florida talent. Guys like Danny Sams and Connor Morell have come from that and moved up into the World of Outlaws and High Limit that you see now. So going to be doing some media for that at Hendry County Speedway. Shaun, you can tell us where you're going to be at and then where Hunter eventually be at coming up.
Yeah, nothing this weekend for me. I've got some Easter plans, so I'll just be a spectator. And we got some series that are taking some time off as well. So nothing really going on this weekend. I will be at Attica again, weather permitting, the following weekend for that 2-day All-Stars show. So I'm looking forward to that. And then we've got USAC midgets at Kokomo in a few weeks, or I guess I should say next month. I'll be checking that out. So I do know that since the All-Star or since World of Outlaws and High Limit are taking a bit of a break. There are going to be some high rollers that are going to be hitting up some local shows in Pennsylvania and Ohio um, a couple of weeks from now. So we saw that Tanner Holmes is going to be in Pennsylvania. I think Danny Sams is going to Atomic for their races at the 10th and 11th weekend. So yeah, keep your eyes peeled if you're a local because there's going to be some invaders coming to your shows.
Yeah, my next plans, like Shaun, I'm booked for Easter, but hopefully after that, I'll get after it as hard as I have in the previous years. I've got multiple trips to Indiana planned in the next month and a half, so we'll see how things go on that front. But I just learned that DJ Diesel, also known as Shaq, is going to be in Pittsburgh the weekend after Easter, so I might have to skip out on some racing to see DJ Diesel. You never know.
Well, we're looking forward to Cody Bova joining us right after this short message.
Sales is proudly presented by DJD Graphics. From commercial and personal vehicles to racing bikes and cars of all makes, models, and disciplines, DJD Graphics can fully customize your vehicle to suit your needs. For more information, contact Darren and visit his website at www.djdgraphics.com. Tell him Shaun and Jacob sent you to receive special rates.
All right, and joining us now is All-Star Circuit of Champions wing sprint car driver Cody Bova. Cody, thanks for joining us on today's episode.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for having me on here to talk to you guys.
So, Cody, it's been a while since I've gotten to watch you race in person down here in Florida. I remember watching you come down here and run at East Bay and Hendry County and all the dirt tracks down here. But you've been busy getting ready for this year, and obviously you're running with the All-Star Circuit of Champions. So walk us through your season and your expectations for going into that regional type of racing that you guys have come back with the All-Stars. It's good to see after the All-Stars went away a couple years ago.
Yeah, absolutely. This year will be our sophomore season on the tour. So definitely looking to improve on last year. We go to a lot of the same places that we were at last year. So, we got a notebook to go on and to improve from last year. And, that's all we're trying to do is get better as a team and get better on the road with these guys and try and go out and compete for wins and compete for a championship.
Yeah, you had I'd say an okay season last year. I'm sure you want to do better this year. What was the general feeling amongst the drivers and teams of how year one of the rebranded All-Stars went?
In the beginning, I think, it was a learning curve for everyone involved. Because we had some teams out on the road that weren't ever on the road, us really included. But as the season went on, I'd say by the third or fourth race there, everybody was in tune with everyone on the road and with Farmer and everyone running the series. I think we all just jived really well and it went really smooth for the first year back. Back with the All-Stars.
Just to piggy a bit off of Shaun's question, how would you rate your season last year? As I understand, it would be your first year running for a full championship, whether regional, national touring season, whatever it may be. Just how would you rate your season's results?
I mean, I would rate it okay. We went back home to local racing. We were fairly competitive then. I would have liked to have had some more top 5 runs with the All-Stars, but that's why we're out there too. We're there to get better amongst some of the best racers, regionally that we race with. So, all in all, it was an okay season. For the most part, we rolled the car out of the trailer. We rolled the car at the end of the night, and that's why we're back for year 2 to kind of grow on that and gain on them top 5 rate. spots and be there in contention for winning.
So going back a little bit, Cody, I watched you race a lot of the 360s, and now you've been doing a lot of the 410s. Just talk about the biggest difference, obviously, between the horsepower between the 360 and 410, and just overall how you've adjusted to getting, with the quicker reaction times, the competition, just everything just happening a lot faster.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Everything happens a lot faster with the 410s compared to the 360s. One of the other things with the 360s compared to 410s is air is huge, and it's a huge advantage to have clean air, dirty air. It is with 360s or 410s, but with 410s, you're able to use that a little more to your advantage. Whereas 360s more just momentum and trying to gain momentum lap after lap after lap. The 410s, there's a little more technical than that. You got to be perfect 95% of the time that you're on the racetrack. You got to be perfect, because if not, one little mess up, it's going to hurt you big time. So and then the huge weight difference too between the motors up front, that has a huge impact on everything. Setup wise is somewhat similar, but as far as how you run the car and running in the corners and try and get that little edge on each other, that's probably one of the biggest things difference wise between 410s and 360s.
Yeah, and your opening night, opening 2 nights is not this coming weekend, the following weekend. You're going to get a 2-day show Friday, Saturday at Attica to kick off the 2026 season. Just talk about that track in general, the challenges that it creates, and obviously you're going up against a couple of guys that have probably raced already this year. So what are you expecting going into opening night?
Yeah, hopefully weather holds out.
Yeah.
We were supposed to actually start last weekend at Attica, which is that they haven't got any nights in, but hoping to get a night in at Attica this weekend. Once again, weather doesn't look good, so yeah, definitely. There's a couple guys that are going to be there that's definitely had some nights on us already. So first night, first weekend out, just try and go out and be successful as far as qualify good. If you can qualify good, you'll be in a good spot for a heat race and put yourself in position. I mean, that's the biggest thing with these things. You got to be able to qualify and put yourself in position. If you don't qualify and do that, then you're chasing your tail the rest of the night. So it all begins with qualifying. You got to go out and put 2 good laps down. And Attica is a tricky track. It's always been a tricky track, and we've gotten better there for sure. We just haven't raced there enough, and we can. But that's one of the positives of running with the All-Stars is we are there quite a bit this year. And if we aren't, we're trying to be there locally, running local shows too, just because the competition up there is, with Cap Henry. I mean, I don't even remember how many races he won last year, but if you go up there and you can be competitive with them guys, you can be competitive with just about anybody. And so to go there for our first weekend, hopefully, like I said, we get a night in before then, but it's not looking too good. So just kind of roll out, roll out and roll in and have a successful night and start our notebook and don't get into trouble. Just keep your nose clean, and that's about it.
So I'm here based in Pittsburgh. I've seen you race around Western PA the past several years. I guess this is a little multi-parter here, but how does racing for that championship with the All-Stars compare to racing at these tracks who really are weekly tracks? And just how would you compare just the state of the Western Pennsylvania scene? I mean, people think of Lernerville, and I know Sharon's in Ohio, but Sharon, and then there's some really interesting tracks too, like PPMS and Tri-City. So just how does racing for the All-Stars compare to that? And what do you think about that group of guys that Western PA has?
I think the group of guys, I think we have a good group of guys here, and it's grown over the past, I don't know, 5 years or so. We definitely have a good group of guys that are racing around here. But by being on the All-Star Tour, I feel when we do get to race back home with the Western PA guys, we are a step ahead of these guys just because we're racing so much and we're on so much different track types and just experiencing all that stuff that when we come back home, we're just a little bit ahead of them. But I mean, they're no slouches either. I mean, you look at AJ Flick. I mean, he's a 9-time Lernerville track champion, multiple wins. He started already this season with PPMS having a win out there. He's a contention to win any night. But then you look at Brandon Spitaler. He's on the tour. I don't know if he's on the tour with us last year, but he was on, or this year, but he was on last year, and he was a previous Fast Series champion multiple times. So you got Brandon Spitaler, you got Leighton Wagner runs with us. Is actually probably as strong as it's ever been. I would feel, but to that aspect, we're also not Attica or Fremont where we're getting 30 cars a night and having to run a B main. You just don't have that out here in Western PA. And that's kind of what you get by running with the All-Stars is you have that more competitive edge and just that upper hand a little bit to where when you, like I said, when you do come back home, you have a better notebook to go off of.
Now, Cody, I feel like one of the biggest topics right now and all across of dirt racing and racing in general is the cost of everything. And obviously it doesn't help right now. I mean, I just paid $4.29 a gallon for regular gas today. And, it just seems like everything's going up. I mean, pit passes this past weekend are $50 for, just to get in. And, race teams are spending a lot of money, and I know purses have kind of increased, but I mean, what are your thoughts about everything? Like, what can fans do? Because it seems like there's healthy crowds coming out, but it just costs so much to go to these races now for fans and race teams. And I know it's different with different race teams having different budgets, but talk about your race program. I believe that's probably why you guys are running All-Stars versus trying to go out there and run, World of Outlaws or High Limit.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, just like you hit there, fuel prices are through the roof right now. And we travel enough with the All-Stars, but we don't travel all over, the United States. And that kind of suits us a little more, with the All-Stars. We still get tow money. We still get a couple pit passes a night. And so that's a helping advantage for us. Especially for our team, we don't have any hired crew chief or any hired help at all. It's my dad, my father-in-law, and then two other guys that just go to the racetrack with us and go because they love it and want to be there and work on race cars. So that's also a huge advantage on our end. We don't have that extra cost, but yeah, I mean, it's huge. A regular tire right now, I think, is $375, and right rear and left for both $375. You go through, so racing with the All-Stars, we don't have to put new tires on every night. We could get away with a used tire, here or there. But yeah, the costs are just crazy right now, and that's where your sponsor money that you have comes into play, and then tow money and points money at the end of the year. And racing with the All-Stars, you're going to get your check at the end of the night. That's one thing that Rich Farmer is really good about. You're going to get paid, you're going to get your money, and you're going to get some of the top-notch guys come out and run with us. So you kind of get all the best of the both worlds there. But yeah, it's definitely, especially this year right now, fuel costs and all that stuff, it's definitely a lot higher this year than it has been in years past. So but with bonus purses, and I think Rich said this year the purse alone is $1 million all in all for all the races we run. So that's really good. And like I said, with getting the tow money and the additional some pit passes, that definitely helps out.
Yeah, so just having a look at the All-Stars schedule for 2026. Looks like there's 33 or 34 races. And then on top of the local stuff that you're going to run, looks like you're probably going to have a pretty aggressive schedule. I know weather's going to cancel a few of those, but any races that you kind of got circled on your calendar this year? I don't know if there's any new tracks that have been added to the schedule, or just places you like going to.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, with the All-Stars this year, we have 3 co-sanctioned shows with the High Limit, and that'd be Kokomo 2 nights and Lawrenceburg 1 night. and I definitely have those circled. Whether we came back to the All-Stars or not this year, those were races we were going to regardless. So I definitely got those circled on my calendar. And then we're at Williams Grove and Lincoln. I love going out there. The competition out there is second to none. Just the atmosphere out there is totally different. So, go out east, have a couple nights out there and then get back home. But yeah, I'd say those racetracks for sure are ones I have circled. And then Mercer is one of my home tracks that I'm a previous track champion of in a 305. So I love getting back there, and we're back there twice this year with the All Stars, and then we're there for Western PA Speed Week as well. So I'm excited to get there for a total of 4 times, and then like I said, Kokomo, Lawrenceburg, and out east.
Well, it's a shame you can't run the entirety of Western PA Speed Week with that high limit race at Lawrenceburg.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
Outside of racing, I guess, or in the off season, just what does a day-to-day life look like for CODY BOVA?
Well, we have an excavating company that I'm full time at. So on top of racing and being another full time job, basically, we have an excavating company that we have 35 guys. So and then we have a dump truck company called Mother Trucker that we have 11 dump trucks. So we're working every day. We're putting in water lines. That's our main bread and butter, commercial work for water line, sewer line, site jobs, stuff like that. So work, home with the family, and then working on race cars is about my day-to-day schedule, as especially in the wintertime. Wintertime, we usually take about a month off from working on cars just because we're working on them all summer long. And then I think this year, right, as soon as the new year swung around, we were back in the shop working on race cars and getting them ready to go. So we're not quite ready yet this year. I mean, we could race if we wanted to, but this is the time of year where you want to make sure you got all your spares and everything ready for the trailer and for the racetracks. That way, when things do go wrong, moment's notice, and everything is in the trailer that needs to be in the trailer. So last couple, or more than the last couple weekends, last few months, we've been spending in the shops on weekend, getting everything ready to go for this year.
So before Shaun gets into our rapid fire segment, where can race fans find you as far as buying some merchandise, maybe buying a T-shirt, and also we have to talk about your scheme because it seems like your schemes are always really loud and bright. This year's is that chrome purple with the neon and the neon chassis. It looks really cool and really pops out. So kind of talk about the thought process behind that.
Yeah, I kind of wanted to do something different this year. We've been black for a while, had a black body for a while, and like you said, I always liked the neon color. So, my wife actually had the idea of maroon and neon yellow, and so we went with it and got the artwork back and loved it. And we just got the cars all done the last couple weeks here and got it all together, and took a picture of it. I'm sure everyone's seen it on social medias, but yeah, I'm super excited as how it came out and ready to see it on the racetrack. I think it might be one of my favorite ones yet.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah.
Yeah,
she's bright and loud for sure.
Yeah, we were joking before you came on, like you're the one guy who, you kind of change it up a little bit every year. But no matter what, you can always see your car from outer space, and we appreciate that with some of the dusty, darker tracks in Ohio and Western PA.
Yeah, that's one thing my dad is really passionate on, I should say, is making sure you can see the race car when it's on the racetrack. He wants to see that car on the track, and I always try and get that with the designs that we go with every year. So yeah, I'm excited how this one turned out. It looks really good, and it actually looks even better in person compared to the picture. But yeah, so I'm excited. I'm excited for this year to get that thing out on the racetrack. I kind of don't want it to get dirty quite yet.
Well, if you're out front, it won't.
Yeah, let's hope. That's the goal.
Yeah, I was gonna ask you actually, just how do you come up with your wraps and designs every year? Is that you, your wife, or is it just a group effort? You kind of sketch some stuff out, or how does that come about?
I actually don't do any sketching. It's between me and my wife and probably my mom and dad. We kind of say, hey, these are the colors we kind of want to go with. And then Mike Schick at MSMD Designs, I kind of just send everything over to him and say, here, this is what I'm thinking. Put something together. And I think he killed it this year.
We appreciate your time, Cody, and we always enjoy having the wing sprint car drivers join us and talk about the sport and promoting it. But before you go, Shaun's got 10 rapid fire questions for you, presented by DJD Graphics. Shaun, go ahead when you're ready.
Why the number 20?
It was my basketball number in 6th grade when I started racing.
All right. What's the best place to hang out at in Struthers, Ohio?
Oh, man. Best place to hang out. My race garage.
To your favorite Youngstown Phantoms hockey player?
Jacob Fowler. He's no longer a Phantoms player, but he actually is playing in the NHL right now. Got to watch him on the team when they won the Clark Cup, so that was pretty cool.
All right. If you got called to the principal's office, what would it have been for?
I don't know. I never got called to the principal's office. Swearing.
All right. Do you have a favorite song that you like to listen to on race day?
Probably some AC/DC.
Yeah, that can't you can't not get fired up listening to that.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Your favorite dirt track in Ohio?
Fremont Speedway.
Yeah, I like that one. I went there for the first time last year and I fell in love with that place. I love that place. Your favorite track in Western PA?
Lernerville.
And what's a track that you wish the All-Stars raced at?
Lernerville.
All right. A different race car that you would like to try at least once?
Oh, there's a few. There is a few. I go super late model.
All right. Going fenders out of everything. All right. All right.
Completely different there.
That's right. All right. Last one. If you could win any race on your bucket list, which one would it be?
Oh, I got to go between reality and bucket list here. Gym 4 Classic.
Cody, we really appreciate your time. We're wishing you the best of luck in 2026. For anyone who's looking to get their sprint car fix in and you live in Ohio, Pennsylvania, Michigan, even Southern Ontario, because it's not that far for me to go. Attica Raceway Park, April 10th and 11th. 2-day show for the All-Star Circuit of Champions. Really looking forward to that, man. It's going to be a fun year, and we'll catch up with you at the racetrack.
Yeah, sounds good. Looking forward to it. Thank you guys for having me on.